Woohoo!
Oh, look at that. The button works. Let me tell you. I got so many buttons to play with tonight. It's going to be a good show. It's going to be a little different. Thank you for joining us right here on What's on Joe Mind. And of course, we're going to get into all of that and our special guest host and our missing hosts right after our kick-ass theme song. All right. Welcome back. We appreciate you sticking with us through that entire intro. But it's a great night on What's on Joe Mind because we're changing things up, right? Just when you think you know the answers, we change the questions. So with, show guru and heart of the broadcast, Mike Irizarry, on assignment tonight, it means we're working at half Irizarry and with Joe Colton out with a case of the pregnancy.
Out with a case of the baby.
Right. It means we've only got two of the regular 4 hosts. So who could possibly do the work of 2 men and more? Welcome in Troy McKee of Callsign Longbow.
Hey!
Yeah,
and look, I can clap because I don't have to worry about the computer falling off my lap.
Yeah, and that's something. You're moving on up, right?
Yeah.
So
reclaiming my living room.
We're changing everything, right? But most importantly, we're happy to have Troy here because to do the work of 2 men, you got to be thick in the crotch, bro. So, and everybody knows that is the hallmark of Callsign Longbow is
that's right,
thick in the crotch, bro. And for me, now I'm kind of familiar with StreamYard technology. I run my Eternal Baseball podcast on Sunday nights. But we don't do a whole lot that's technical. And there are so many buttons here. Like I haven't sat in Captain Kirk's chair before. And the power is incredible. The things the opportunity that I have.
This is going to be like an episode of Dingo and the Baby.
I'm telling you, it's going to be so good because there's stuff I haven't even heard yet. Like, all right, so this isn't going to be the fabulous sports babe, right? I'm more than a sound effect button pusher, but we are happy to be here. And Mike did pretty much every bit of the show prep he always does. So he left us with the groceries. Now it's up to us to screw up dinner, and I have no doubt that we can absolutely get that done. So moving on, we've got all sorts of stuff to get into tonight. We got a calendar. We got, I guess, a bit of news. But then we're really going to dig into what's going on with Callsign Longbow because big fans of the product. And I was totally honest with Troy earlier because I'm an honest guy. And I'm like, dude, I'm all in. So I have not been paying that close of attention. Because unlike some, I'm just going to guess. I don't have any inside knowledge here. But given the patience level of some portions of the G.I. Joe fan base, I'm willing to bet there's at least one guy sending the email, "Where are my figures, man?" Yes?
Always.
There we go.
About 20 minutes after the campaign ended was when we got our first one. So.
I think they assumed they're pre-produced.
And again, Troy, I apologize. I didn't understand how things work.
It's all right, Rob. We'll get into it. Right. Just keep holding out.
Yeah. When the angry email comes from hacktimerob@gmail.com, you got to figure out exactly what's going on here. We do appreciate everybody in the comments. I'm getting a better sense of why sometimes I see a comment before Mike does, because he's got a lot more going on his heads up display than I do.
I just forgot to turn the comments on. I mean, that's how into it I am tonight.
Look at this, man. That's what I'm talking about. We were moving quick.
We got a pitch clock
right here now. Yeah, exactly. Right. It's good for the game. But look at this. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. See, big guns. Yep, that's it. So anyway, we appreciate everybody hanging on, everybody being with us. And let's see if I can get this part to work. Again, it's not all going to go right, but so far so good. And again, all credit to Mike, because I didn't do any of this. This is all Mike. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. That's my first error. eWeb. Because we can't go to that without the intro, right? Hang on.
Oh, yeah, we need the intro. God help us what's going to come up now.
Right? There's a lot of them to choose from. And
Troy,
I believe,
have you seen these?
Right? Get ready for some bad Shroomin.
You're in for a treat.
Yeah, because these hurt.
I hated being on What's on Joe Mine.
That brutal chest cut.
Shipless layout. Shipless layout.
I mean, I don't know if it was a good trip or a bad trip, but it was a trip regardless.
It was a trip.
Yeah. So there we go. And that'll bring us actually to the community calendar. We'll start out here. Something near and dear to your heart, I do believe, Mr. McKee, the Denver G.I. Joe meetup.
It's in my neighborhood. Yeah, I'm gonna try and make it to this.
How far outside of Denver proper are you?
I'm depending on the part of Denver. If you're going from the dead center of town, I'm about 90 miles northeast of there.
Okay.
So
that's an hour and a half in good traffic and 8 hours in the winter.
Exactly. Yeah. And really, like, it's an hour to get to the outskirts, and then it's the 7 hours to get from the outskirts to the center. Yeah.
Is that why they put the airport like an hour out of town?
Yeah. It's much faster for me to get to the airport than it is for me to get to downtown Denver. Much faster.
Not bad. Not bad. So yeah, coming up, this is what, Saturday, May 20th. It's not, I don't know that it's a convention per se, but anytime Joe fans are getting together, it's a good time. So buy, sell, trade, nerd out. Why not?
Yeah, Mark from Mark 2 Toys is hosting that one. So
all right. And we trust this guy?
Yeah. And it's my understanding is it's at a shop.
Okay.
And he does a lot of 3D modeling work. So
okay.
That'll be fun. Yeah.
All right. So you're vouching for him.
Yeah. I'll vouch for Mark.
If Troy says he's good peeps, I think he's good peeps.
All right.
So we appreciate that. Oh yeah, look at this. Michael told me that too.
There you go.
So okay, it works for me. So that's the Denver G.I. Joe meetup. We won't see you there, but Troy might. Elsewhere, the Fort Wayne Hobby and Collectibles Show. This is more your speed, Rob.
Yeah, it's a lot closer to me than Denver is. Yeah.
Right. The Allen County Fairgrounds. That's a lot of different dates. So they do this over and over again, I guess, huh?
They must, yeah. It looks like the next one coming up, May 21st.
There you go. Right around the corner. Hey, free admission. You got to like that. It's a lot of comic book, not much G.I. Joe on that cover, but I'll allow it. Fort Wayne. Hey, when's the last time you went to Fort Wayne?
I'm trying to think of the first time I went to Fort Wayne.
Oh, as in avoided it like Bayonne, or
no, more just like, it's Fort Wayne. If you don't have a reason why you're going.
Well, now you have a reason.
There you go.
Fort Wayne Hobby and Collectibles Show.
I got a college friend at Fort Wayne now. I should check him.
Yeah, go say hello. Why not? Here we go. We got Tidewater Comic Con.
All right.
From the Virginia Beach. Look, and this is right in Joe's alley, right?
Yeah.
So apparently I'm the only one they don't like right here at Hasbro Ground Central. Who knew? So we got Dan, voice of Bumblebee, a little Spider-Man action, Sergeant Slaughter. You probably know him. Greg Berger, who I always, he's Grimlock to me. But Joe, I mean, not that Slaughter's Joe, but Slaughter does a lot of shows. Adrienne Palicki, I don't know how often she's out on the show circuit. So want a chance to get yourself a little Lady J? Head on out and be nice, like we said. about the voice of Serana. Be nice to these people out there. If they're not on the circuit a whole bunch, let's not scare them off, right?
I'm trying to think. Greg Berger did Spirit, Cutter, Firefly. So
that's not bad.
Yeah.
He's Grimlock to me because I'm a Grimlock guy. So, but yeah, there's plenty of Joe stuff you can get signed by Greg Berger. So not bad. Coming up May 20th and 21st. Tidewater Comic Con. Maybe see a hysterically pregnant Joe Colton there. I doubt it. But
No. I mean, at this point, she'd have to be, rolled around and like
right.
a rascal or something.
That's probably it. She can't go there against Wes's orders because Wes would have to push her at that point, right? So anyway, Tidewater. I'll tell you what, if you get a picture of Joe Colton at Tidewater Comic Con, send it to us.
Yep.
At whatsonjoemind@gmail.com. We'll send you a prize that may or may not be a Slaughter's Marauders barbecue.
But probably will be a Slaughter's Marauders barbecue.
Signs point to yes. We do have that in the bottom of the prize hopper. Because the last person got to take everything and they left it. So, that's coming up. And then, I mean, the big one, Joe Fest 2023. And why is it the big one? No offense to Joe Fest, but anywhere Larry's at, that's the big one, right?
Yeah.
Pretty excited to see Larry Hama there. This is in Augusta. Other guests include Brian Atkins, Robert Atkins, Chad Bowers, Lisa, I believe it's Raggio. That's Zarana, who's in her second appearance. So either she signed up for both of them early, or we didn't scare her away with her first appearance. So that's good. Program, Adam Riches, Sergeant Slaughter, Keanu Young, many of your favorite guest vendors and toy makers, including
Callsign Longbow.
All righty.
So since I'm the guy yapping all the time, let me give up the mic for a sec. What can we expect to see from Troy McKee and Callsign Longbow at Joe Fest?
I think we're scheduled to do a panel, but we'll have a booth set up there, and we're gonna have we don't have figures in hand yet, but we're gonna have some other fun stuff. We're gonna have some color posters. We're gonna have some stickers. We've got patches in, some of the other items, that went along with the Kickstarter. Maybe some other stuff. Depends on how much I get done in the next 3 weeks before I get on the road. Right. But we'll be there. So stop by and say hi if you're at the show for sure.
I mean, it's the biggest Joe show right now. So, I mean, I like to think that the Joe community is probably pretty well informed. But for those who missed it or those who need a reminder, it's always good out there, press the flesh, flash some patches around and spread the gospel. So looking forward to that. Joe Fest is a good time. And if you're there, find Troy McKee and tell him What's on Joe Mind sent you. And he'll be like, I know, I was on the show.
Yeah.
That's coming up soon. And that's it. I mean, not a lot going on beyond that as far as the community calendar goes. So I do like the pace. Oh, hang on. We got requests here. Well, that wasn't what I wanted. How about this? Right?
We've got shirts available on Teespring, and I've heard a lot of feedback that people want thick in the crotch shirts. So we may do that if I get some time to put together a graphic.
You know what it needs? It needs the quote, and it needs an arrow pointing down, right?
That'll be our best seller. We'll do more of that than anything else.
Yes, that's classy.
Yep. Hey, and since we got the head of the brand on, right? Who's the artist for your Callsign Longbow merch?
So there's a couple of different folks working on different pieces of it. The comic book style art is typically done by Rod Wiggum, who does some of the comics and stuff. The packaging art is being done by Douglas Hart, who did a lot of the Joe art in the 90s. He did like all of Ninja Force. He did all of Mega Marines. I know he worked on Air Raiders and Stargate, and He can't even remember all the stuff that he worked on when he was at Hasbro because he was on staff and he worked on a ton of stuff. But he's doing our packaging art. So depending on what kind of art you're looking at, it's probably one of those two guys.
There you go. And as Torpedo 83 reminds us, you always got to make sure that we plug the damn show. Now, we just got finished plugging everybody else's show. I'm looking here through my buttons because I thought I saw something earlier. Yeah, I mean, it's almost.
Hey, you think we can get a plug the damn show jingle? Plug the damn show. 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 Plug the damn show.
I don't think I've seen that one before. I think that's a debut.
I probably stole it from Mike. He's going to be so disappointed. I did like was that a Dolly Parton cameo?
Yeah.
Just try all the buttons. Don't wait for Mike.
Right?
Make sure they all work.
As long as you don't hit the one that says end call, we should be
right.
fine.
Yeah, and there's one here that says end broadcast, and I know some of you are rooting for that. So we'll just know that I can hit that ripcord at any time.
We have not yet begun to blather.
I'm telling you, there's so much.
Wow, careless whisper.
I'm just telling you, there's so much going on here, and hardly any of it makes sense. But that doesn't mean it's bad. It's just like the Twin Peaks episode of What's on Joe Mind. So, hold on. God, there's so much to do here between the banners. Like, look, this is what I was looking for earlier. Can I even get it to work? Yeah, baby. Look at that, right? Like, so good. Anyway, now I understand why I got a new respect for Mike, because he manages to sit through the show with all of these weapons at his disposal, and he doesn't indulge too often like I'm doing. But there's always something that ready to pop. We do want to thank Yankee fan Gary Godso and What's on Joe Mind legend for stopping by the show last week. But now, as you know, it's time for the news. Look at that. Like, man, it's not even that hard. I think I'd be good at this in another 10 or 12 tries. But jumping into the news, first news item. That's what I'm talking about. Legends of the Hidden Forest Kickstarter that was revamped, revived, and relaunched. So you can take a look at this over on Kickstarter, retooled, which is, it's funny to say retooled when it hasn't actually started yet, but that's cool. So looking at funding at $35,000 with these figures as your lead off, that Shinobi Tarashi, Master Obake, and I'll probably butcher it, but Kyonshi. Missing my guy though, the tie-dye gradient blue to purple ninja, but I'm sure we'll get him. Just to go to a Kickstarter, search for Legends of the Hidden Force for full details and stretch goals. Funding continues through June 11th at 2 p.m. Eastern. So right after lunch, I guess. They're wrapping it up. But I really thought there was a lot here when we first went through it. But there was a lot there. So I wonder if people got a little, if their heads were swimming a little bit because there was so much content revealed at once. So it looks like this is a bit of a tighter offering just to get started, and hopefully that works out, because this is a well thought out set, and I really like almost everything they're doing here. But I'd like to see them hit it here on the second try. And there's plenty of Kickstarters that have done really well the second time.
Oh yeah.
Out, right? Troy, you got some Kickstarter experience, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's not odd, you kind of it's hard going into a Kickstarter, especially with an all new property or an all new concept, because you just don't know what the response is going to be, and you can absolutely run yourself in circles trying to guess, where you think people are going to be. And, there's all kinds of things that you kind of fight with about, where is your funding goal and how much are the packages? And, if we get X number of people, is this enough to make this work? And if we only get this many people, is it enough to make this thing work? And there's a lot to do with it. So there are so many variables. It's hard to nail down, but there is nothing wrong with if you launch it and there are issues or it doesn't take off the way you thought it was, or something comes up. There is nothing wrong with, like they did here, putting on the brakes for a minute, going back, kind of looking at your fundamentals, making some changes, and then coming back and doing it again. Because that's, in the end, that's going to make it a more successful campaign. So, there's nothing wrong with running it a second time, and you learn a lot of lessons as you do more and more. So it's, I think this positions them much better this time around.
And I can see, like, back when I had, a little bit of time to work on the Joe brand, I was constrained massively on how many figures we could make and what our tooling budget was. And so it was exciting just to be able to do anything, but without those kind of severe limitations. I can see when it's your own idea and your own baby and your own spin on the kind of figure you grew up playing with, I can see how you could possibly get a little lost in it, right? So sure. I like this. I think this has got a really good shot. Rob, you feeling the Legends of the Hidden Force?
I think it's a good thing that they've gone back and just kind of streamlined the whole, the whole offering there, and it gives it a tighter focus. I think it'll do quite well this time around. Yeah,
I'm feeling this here. I think they're going to have this roll through and fund, and as it says, you've got till June 11th at 2 p.m. So you can get a big burrito, come back, fund it, and watch it win at 2:00 on June 11th. So we appreciate that, and we wish them well. Next news item. Meanwhile, at Hasbro Pulse. So,
dun, dun, dun.
I mean, man, that print's really small. I've read it before. I'm not going to read it now.
Yeah.
But like we talked about when they first put it, I really dig this, right? Like, it's totally fine to put teaser stuff out there.
Oh, yeah.
And breadcrumbs are great as long as it's not leading to Chris Jericho's return. I'm down with it. So I hope people aren't frustrated that they aren't getting the news right now, or won't be disappointed when whatever the reveal actually is. This is good stuff. They should do, not just everybody should do more of this. So I like what we're seeing here. Anybody got a guess as to where this is leading?
I'm wondering if it's not leading to another HasLab during WOJM.
That'd be nice.
Maybe a Joe vehicle.
Yeah, I'm kind of in that same boat. That's kind of what I picked up from it.
And I have said, and I think a lot of people agree with it, that a vamp just makes way too much sense for reuse capability, and it wouldn't have to be, faithful to the 82 vamp, but a good looking vamp to battle, against your his tank. Kind of feeling that. I think there's a lot of legs there as far as vehicles go. So I don't think anybody would be mad if they announced a vamp, right? And I'm not sure. I don't know how big they could go like that. His tank's pretty damn big, and pretty damn expensive. So what's the ceiling on vehicles even for a HasLab classified? I don't know how much bigger than a Hiss could go. I'm not even sure you could go Mobat, but not to start anyway. Maybe if the vamp's a big hit, I think that might be the upper level of it. Even though I know most people are like, hovercraft.
Yeah, no.
I never had a flag. I want a flag.
The hovercraft will be the size of the couch I'm sitting on.
Yeah, pump your brakes. Let's have a devilfish first.
Yeah.
Before we go full on hovercraft. So. Let's see here. Matt Rubin seems to think he sniffed it out. All right. Victory Saber and Deathsaurus. Two names that absolutely resonate with the U.S. collectors.
But those things both funded, so can't be that bad.
Yeah, I guess that's true. We can't argue with success. Although some people have tried. Some love for the Snowcat. Size-wise, they could do a Snowcat, I think. Don't you think?
It's not that much bigger than a Vamp. I mean, it was in the same class of vehicle back in the day.
Yeah, Snowcat and Hiss feel, in the same weight class at least, right?
Yeah.
I'd sanction that fight. I don't know if Snowcat would be my first Joe vehicle, though, right? No, we'll see.
Yeah, I think they'd want to do something a lot more iconic, like a Vamp or something. So yeah.
Oh, and Diana Davis being cryptic. Ooh.
Good
to know. Yeah, she's going to be cryptic. We appreciate that. But Dave McDonald for the win. Bridge layer. Yeah.
Well, you know what this means then. Toll booth and Tiger Force toll booth variation.
See, now we're talking. It's all on the table. Even as a kid who wanted to have everything, I think maybe that was my first pause. Was when the bridge layer came out. I'm like, ooh.
We got it for Mike one year for his birthday. He liked it,
He dug it?
Yeah.
I guess. I mean, I had it too. I got it. So it didn't help that the driver looked confused.
Yeah.
Right.
And it was still, and he didn't have the ball joint neck. So,
Yeah, that's true too. Could be.
Possible.
I do think and the cover girl figure is fantastic, but I do have a bit of a hang up about characters that were so well associated with their vehicle coming out as single pack classified figs. Like, I was a big Ace fan because I loved the Sky Striker as a kid. I don't know that I need a classified Ace because we're never getting a classified Sky Striker. Come on now.
Yeah, but I think what they've done with CoverGirl, like over the years, and even on the cartoon, it's a little bit more. She was a little bit more doable outside the vehicle. Like, I think you could do Wild Bill without doing the Dragonfly.
Yeah, it's possible.
Just like they're doing Copperhead without the water moccasin.
Yeah, I'm feeling that.
I don't know if you can do that with like Wild Weasel.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Troy?
I think it's going to be a Coastal Defender.
Yeah.
Yes.
With a
Nothing beats a box.
With a downgraded and really frustrated Cutter, right?
Yep. No, I think that's the sweet spot right there.
Yeah, budget cut. Sorry about that. You know what? I think it sounds stupid, but I think that's kind of possible because there's so little bulk to that copter, right? You could pop the tail off and it wouldn't even have to come in a box that big.
Yeah, it's long, but it's not wide.
Yeah, there's not a lot to it. It's pretty much hollow. So I would kill pretty much any other suggestion of that size. But the Dragonfly, I think that's possible. Right? Not probable, but possible. Yeah. Oh, here we go. Well, then it's canon. So, all right, fine. We'll Dragonfly is doable. I want to cut the audio from Rob a couple minutes ago where he said CoverGirl is doable, right? That's a drop. Hold on, I'll have a button for that next week. But meanwhile, next news item. Look at this.
Ooh.
New box art from Oliver Barrett on Twitter. I'm digging both of these like crazy.
Yeah.
Especially that I hate to say it, but I think he was from Miami. Copperhead looks appropriately coked up in this shot.
He really does.
He's motivated over here. So digging that, digging Torpedo like crazy. But then the absolute payoff and the big win here is, look at this. That's on the right. That's Oliver Barrett, actually. Being his own photo reference for his shipwreck art.
There you go.
So, the Academy Award for best use of a $4.99 power strip goes to Oliver Barrett. Apparently, the bird got out of the photo in time, but it's hard to take a selfie with a bird. But But I like this. I'm always a fan of the more realistic and I hate to beat this drum, but that's kind of what I'm good at. If they had just kept one art style throughout all the classified, I would have liked it so much better. Especially when they went no window, right? Then it was really obvious how badly the art styles.
I think it was a lot more jarring when they went, which is why, I mean, this round, I think this is still windowless, but you get a big picture of the figure and then this art off to the side. So even if they went different, it wouldn't be as jarring.
Speaking of jarring, Firefly has it on good authority that Copperhead snorts through his mask.
It filters out the impurities.
Right? It's only the good stuff gets through. None of that cheap stuff. And this makes sense too. Yeah. It's tough being the shipwreck. Anyway, digging the artwork. Love the kind of unified style there. I think that's pretty slick. And is that all, or do we have more? Let's risk it. Next news item. Oh, yeah! Almost forgot. We actually had a news item this week, like a real legit toy one. So the Arctic back image, courtesy of Bees Battlegrounds on Instagram. That's called giving credit for those of you out there still trading. Release date, we don't know. We saw this in the snow job promo shots. Looks like it's got a pistol, a backpack, sniper rifle, alternate chest plates, an alternate head, and a chainsaw arm attachment to make Ash proud. Arctic Bat, gentlemen. Troy, you're the guest. What do you think?
It's interesting. I've never been one to think about all the different variations of the bat. I guess I haven't been looking for it. So it's very environment specific. It's got cool accessories. The chainsaw is awesome, but yeah, I guess I hadn't ever given much thought to an Arctic bat before.
I mean, I do like that it's a new spin, right? Which is, it's not a new character, but it's halfway there.
Yeah.
So I dig that. What do you think, Rob?
Hey, look, that chainsaw attachment, you can get all 3 dreadnoughts on one figure.
Oh, that's a good point. Never thought of that. If it came with a giant fork, you could have monkey wrench too.
Yeah. Or a couple grenades,
Yeah, I suppose. Fair enough. I do like that when they send the bats up to the Arctic, they're like, well, we'll have to outfit them differently. Yeah. But Quick Kick is like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Right? Like, no big deal. Snowshoes, I got feet. I'm good. But I think I'm the one who's always saying, gotta have new characters, new ideas, new concepts. So I'm 100% behind this. I dig it. And yeah, if they want to do bats every so often that are desert bats, that are scuba bats or whatever, love it. Bring it on.
Well, it kind of makes sense. You might have to have a bat that doesn't get all, gunked up in the cold. So
yeah, and it kind of lends credit to the potential snowcat kind of thing, right? Because we got snow job, we're getting an Arctic bat. I really thought that. Even back in the day, not to besmirch the OGs who put together the line we all loved, but I really thought they could have come around with the key characters environmentally more often.
Yeah.
Like Arctic Scarlet, Arctic Snake Eyes, Desert Snake Eyes. Like, yeah, I think they could have done more with that rather than just here's a new Snake Eyes, right? Not just repaint, like, new figure. But I would like to have seen a little more of that back in the day. I think they didn't go far. Like the Tundra Ranger Stalker. That's great. I was surprised we didn't see more of that back in the day. So anyway.
It's got kind of, if you look at that alternate head, a lot of people are saying this, and I was saying this to Mike the other night. It looks a little bit like the Blue Ninjas cyborgs from the comics.
Yeah, that's a good point. And apparently this is Zartan's gun. Who knew? Yeah. So, all right. Works for me. This is a good. Draw's got a good point. You could totally have a battle bear. It would be. Is that the same size as Serpentor's chariot, or probably a little bigger? Huh?
Probably roughly. I mean, total plastic.
Yeah, I mean, it's longer,
maybe
but
a
not
little
as wide.
longer, but not as high. You know,
Right? I could see that. I'd like to see that. Yeah, and when Craig Cohen makes the whole point, like you can't wear all black in the desert just for the heat, right? That'd be something everybody's running. Dusty and the boys are all running around. Snake Eyes sitting on a rock, like, good Lord, sweating in here.
I'm schwitzing.
Right, he can't talk, so he's just doing like the high five ghost thing, getting their attention. But yeah, we can see that. Arctic Outback. Okay. Works for me. All right. I think this is it. So I'm not even going to go for next news item because I think that's presented, of course, by Chonky Tank Kitty and the Meowler Tank and our friends at the G.I. Joe 3D Printing Podcast. So there you go. That's what we're talking about as far as news goes. But that's like we're talking standard news, excluding anything Callsign Longbow related, because now this is the Callsign Longbow portion of the program. And thank goodness, because we managed to land Troy McKee to talk us through it. So, Troy, for people who don't, let's do the elevator pitch. For the few people who don't know what Callsign Longbow is, hit them with that knowledge.
So, Callsign Longbow is a 3 3/4 inch retro O-ring action figure line. And it's got a story that's set in the 1980s with the Cold War. There's an American covert operations force for the good guys. There's a Soviet faction for the bad guys. There's another sci-fi villain faction called Steel Web. And the entire brand is kind of designed to fit with the collections that you already have. So no matter, what other O-ring figures you might have collected, if it was the core or some of the Rimco lines like American Defense or U.S. Forces or Galoob's A-Team or Migos, Chips and Dukes of Hazzard, right? It's going to fit in with whatever collection you already own.
So you get Paunch and B.A. Baracus can take out some Russians.
Absolutely.
As we always knew they could.
Right? I would assume so. It's the mashup we always wanted but never got.
It's what you need.
Right. So and where are you at in the overall development, fulfillment, the whole enchilada with Callsign Longbow?
So we completed our initial crowdfunding campaign on Kickstarter last year. And then we opened up our backer kit. Our backer kit pre-order store is still open as of right now. The exclusives aren't available anymore, but all the regular product is still available for pre-order as part of a crowdfunding campaign. Beyond that, where we're at right now is we are in the process of getting all the sculpts around and getting them to the factory so we can get them tooled. And this turned into a fairly large project because we wound up with 11 figures. So we're working with it in chunks. We're doing a couple of figures at a time, just because that's how it's going to have to be for the factory. They're not going to be able to just shut down everything and just do R11, right? They're going to fit a few of ours in here, and then they're going to do another project and then fit a few more of ours in and move some things around. So right now, that's where we're at right now, is we're sourcing sculpts and working with the factory.
And so for the people, I mean, most, I'm pumping it up here. Most people know what's going on, but I'm sure they want to take a look at it again. And for the few people who just found out about it, where should they go to get a good look at Callsign Longbow?
So they can go to cslongbow.com, which is our website. And if you head over to cslongbow.com, we've got character profiles on there. We've got the digital edition of our first issue of our comic book, which is free to read. The first issue is free to read. And you can get those on the website. There's also a link there to the pre-order store. So head over to cslongbow.com, take a look at what's there. And if you like what you see, just go ahead and head on over to that backer kit pre-order store, and you can pick up the characters that are available.
So, and for the people who are already in, like me, I know and Rob, of course, they've been getting some sneak preview kind of stuff that I believe you have been cleared by the boss, which is you, to make its mainstream debut right here on What's on Joe Mind.
Yep, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
So Let me bring up our Chunky Tank
That's
Kitty
not
here.
one of ours.
No. That's. I was going to say that's wave 2, but people would hold me to that. So never mind the. Pay no attention to the cat in the tank, but I mean,
Ooh.
almost as good, right? So I have it on good authority. We're looking at Outlaw and Uptown here. Tell me all about this.
Yep. So these are the sculpts for Outlaw and Uptown. They're both two of our longbow operators, so they're both good guys. And there are some shared parts there, but we were working with a sculpting vendor on these two figures. Outlaw has a little SMG there, and a gas mask. He also has a bag that we don't have the sculpt for yet, but that gas mask is removable. And it'll fit right over his balaclava there. So that's going to be a flexible PVC accessory. So it'll be able to fit over the head. And we had him sculpted just slightly large on him so that it will fit on the other figures, because he's wearing the balaclava. He doesn't really have any hair, so his head's fairly small, right? Because it's pushed down.
I wouldn't know what that's like at all.
Yeah.
The slightly small head thing.
Yeah. So, well, Rob kind of knows, he's got hair.
Right.
But so it is just a little bit bigger. But again, that's kind of done that way intentionally so that we can fit it on other figures that maybe have bigger hair.
That makes sense. I like that. And I like that because my whole life has been reaching to the back of the fitted cap rack and going, I like this Yankee hat. Let me see. 7.5. Nope. Not gonna work. Not gonna work on this.
Ordering off the website.
Right, on this huge noggin. So fine.
Yep.
So anytime somebody said we made the headpiece a little extra big, thumbs up. I'm digging.
It's always better if it fits on more product, right?
Absolutely.
The more we can put it on, the better.
Right, and not just to kiss the guest host's butt, but I like that foresight. I like that planning. A lot of people wouldn't have thought of that, so I dig it.
Sure. I mean, the idea. I mean, in an ideal world, right? We'd like every piece to fit with every figure. Now that's not really possible, and sometimes you need pieces that are really unique that only fit with one figure. But right, part of the deal with what we're trying to do is we're trying to make something that feels like vintage product and has the design standard and the architecture like a vintage figure had, right? They all worked from the same buck. In those accessory packs, those helmets were still going to fit 70% of the figures, right? Mm-hmm. And that, we're trying to be cognizant of that whenever we can. It's not always something you can do, but if we can do it, great, let's do it.
I dig it. All right. And then tell me about Uptown.
So Uptown here is our other character that we've got a sculpt for here. He's got a helmet, he's got a backpack, he's got a rifle, and then he's got a knife. And you can see that we have forks sculpted onto that backpack so that it will hold that knife for when he's not using it. But that figure, you can see he shares some parts with Outlaw, but we really, when we reuse parts, if you go and you look at the way the figures are colored up, where we've got the drawings on the backer kit store, we really went out of our way to try, when we reuse parts, to make sure that we're doing them in different decos that look very distinct. And we're trying to always make sure that we're changing out heads and accessories so that figures don't ever feel like palette swaps. Because that's something that's easy to fall into, and that would be really cheap. If everything used the same paint masks at the factory and everything, was just swapping out the colors. But anytime that we're reusing stuff, we're trying to be very aware of that and really make that character feel unique as much as we can.
And I know you probably get a billion suggestions every week on why don't you do this, but this is a good one because you could sell 70 to Mike alone.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right.
My guess would be, I haven't actually gotten a copy of this 3D printed yet, but my guess would be that this gas mask might very well fit on a vintage beachhead. I can't say that for certain, but I know that Outlaw's head is of similar proportions. It's not like we sat down and made it the exact same size, but they're fairly similar.
Right. If the crotch is a match for the 86 beachhead, now you're printing gold. Right.
Yeah.
We're just gonna have to do that as a separate product.
Right. It's like an accessory pack, all crotches.
It's just waist pieces. That's all it is.
I like the all crotch edition. It's going to go well. Firefly has a really good observation here, and you're the man to answer it.
So they will match what's on a vintage figure. So the rivets are going to go in from the front on the top, and they're going to go in from the inside at the elbow. I hope that's what you're asking specifically.
Yeah, and I can see where the question comes from though, because especially at the shoulder, it looks like the opposite just on this image, right?
And these 3D sculpts, I should say, so these are 3D sculpts of what the plastic will be. There's no hardware in these sculpts, so there's no rivets on these images. If
So
you
we're
were to
seeing,
look at
seeing the actual hole for the rivet.
Right. If you were to look at it on the back, there's no screw on these digital renders. There will be when it comes from the factory, but not on these. No, that's a good question though.
So Callsign Longbow is also hollow in the shoulder, bro.
Yeah, for right now.
Just in this image. Fair enough. Let's see what we've got next. I know I got more good stuff here. Oh, look at this. This is how the sausage gets made, boys and girls.
This is it.
What are we looking at here, Troy?
So this is tooling, and this is very, very exciting for us. So it is no secret that we also worked on the RoboSkull Mark II project for Skeletron. And we created an O-ring figure to go along with that project. There's a retro Wolf Trooper pilot that comes with the RoboSkull, or could be purchased separately. It has an alternate Skeletron head, and it has some different pieces to it. It is also not particularly a secret that figure and Ghost from Callsign Longbow, which is one of the Steel Web operatives, share some tooling. So that meant as we were starting to get ready to go, and because Skeletron's moving in front of us, we kind of had to turn around and make Ghost our priority. So more work has been done on Ghost than on anything else because it needed to be ready first for the factory. So this is steel tooling, and this is an interesting shot because this shows some of Ghost's accessories and some of the Skeletron Wolf Trooper accessories because they're coming out of the same tool. So it's a mix of stuff here. So not all of this stuff comes with Ghost. Not all of this stuff comes with the Skeletron figure. Specifically, what you can see here for Ghost is his SMG, his claws, claw dagger. I'm not sure what we landed on the name for that, and then his shield. And so this is tooled. We have test shots of this, which is very exciting. Because this is where it starts to become very real, right? When we start getting plastic samples, it's like, oh, this thing is really going to happen now, which is very, very exciting for us. But I wanted to talk about something interesting here. With Ghost, we had inspiration on Ghost not long before our Kickstarter launched. John had seen some videos about an invisibility shield, and right before our project launched, there was actually another Kickstarter that was trying to build these invisibility shields. And what it is it's lenticular plastic. And when it's bent at a round kind of semicircular, what it does is it reflects the light from one side to the other, and it kind of bounces across it, which is a really, really cool effect. And we wanted to try and mimic that with Ghost, right? And we weren't really sure how we were going to make that work, because it's got to be kind of a very specific pattern. And we really thought we were going to have to do this shield, and then they were just going to have to etch the shape into the front of it. And we knew the effect wouldn't be quite right, but we were going to give it a try. And we thought, if it doesn't work out, that's okay. We're going to give it a shot. We're going to see what happens. Well, we talked to Dave Proctor, who's our partner on manufacturing, and Dave's a great guy, and he's very innovative. And we kind of told him what we wanted to do, and we sent him some samples of the lenticular plastic. And what they did, you can see on that shield, there's 4 notches, 2 on each side. And what they did is they produced us a clear shield here. And you can see that we've got notches here on the corners. What he's actually got for us is we're going to have lenticular plastic that's going to be cut. And I don't know if this is going to come up on the
I'm
on the
trying
website
to
here.
I'm trying to figure out how to give you spotlight, but I mean,
That's all right.
I'm
we're
new
big.
here.
We're
Oh, there you
big
go.
here.
That's
All
better.
right.
Look at that.
So yeah, you can see my finger behind that now as I come back a little bit.
What finger
Right.
is that? Holy smoke.
Yeah, you know which finger it is.
We're
Mark.
number one.
Yeah, number one, baby. But as you can see, as you start to pull back a little bit from it, like it really around that curvature, you can't see much behind it. So what they did was we've got those notches on the shield. They're actually going to be able to get the lenticular material, and it will actually clip in on that shield. He'll actually be able to hold it, and it's not a perfect invisibility effect, but you know what? If our figures are 10% invisible, that's 10% more than anybody else's. So,
I love it.
this was really cool, and this is very exciting. So we're really glad we could do that, especially since Ghost is a deluxe figure. We really want him to kind of stand out and have a cool feature. So,
Well, it's nice to have something nobody's ever done before,
Yeah.
right? As your hallmark. So I'm impressed. Very cool.
yeah. So that's something we haven't shared anywhere yet, but I wanted to point that out with those notches. That's something new that wasn't in the original illustrations. That's something cool that Dave helped us come up with, and it's very exciting. So.
Well, the fans are digging it, and check this out, right? Dun, dun, dun.
Ah,
There you go. It's getting some high praise there. So I dig it. Like, that's a really, really cool concept. And now when it gets knocked off, you can
That's
say
right.
we were first, man.
We were first.
Hey, and that's the sincerest form of flattery, right?
Absolutely.
Someone rips off your great ideas. But that's not all, kids. There's more. And look at this.
We've got some great Douglas Hart art for both Uptown and Outlaw again. So Doug, I know we talked about him a little bit earlier. Doug did a lot of the art on Joe in the 90s after Hector Carrito had come off. And I don't remember when Doug really came on the line, but he worked on a ton of stuff. And he has a great style, and we've been working with him to give us kind of that vintage look and feel. Anytime he can do something like he used to do it back in the day, we tell him to have at it, and he gets to have fun with some of these characters. He gets to do some interesting things. He's really into playing with the lighting and the rim light around the outside. And just different lighting effects, different characters. He'll ask if he can try different things. And Douglas has been great to work with. He's fantastic. The art looks great. And I can't wait to get this on packaging, because I'm just very happy with the way the art's been.
Well, and I think this really illustrates your point. Bad pun there. Didn't mean it that way, but I'll take it. Usually my puns are that bad on purpose. But how you talked about using the coloring on the same chest, right? On similar parts, right? These guys are sitting right next to each other. And if you hadn't mentioned it, most people probably wouldn't have even noticed that that's the exact same vest, right?
Yeah, when you see those gray sculpts, it's very noticeable because they're the same color and there's no detail. But here you can see more of what the final deco is going to look like. It really does, like you said, it looks different. They don't look the same, even though you might know that some of those parts are shared.
Yeah, and that's deco, that's accessory, that's for the art, that's the posing of it, right? Which foot is up, and how are the hands located? And I just think it's all really sharp, very well thought out. So kudos to you and the folks at Callsign Longbow, and I think that's not all.
We got more. Wait.
Oh wait, there's more. Apologies, comrade.
Absolutely. So this is Volk and the Spetsnaz trooper from our Soviet faction. Again, great Doug Hart art, done in a classic style. You can see Volk's lighting is a little bit different because his uniform was black, so Doug wanted to try out some different things there. So he's got some blue highlight along the side, which I love. They look great in full size. Like it's one thing on the screen like this, but when you get the paintings in and you see all the brush strokes and stuff, it just looks fantastic. So anyway, while we're mentioning that, at Joe Fest, we are going to have some color prints of this art with the blast effect that we've got. Not with these backgrounds, but with the blast effect. So that's something we will have at the show. If anybody wants to come take a look at that or wants to pick up a couple of those, we'll have a couple of those for sale. So
digging it. Bart, of course, has the most important question. I mean,
Who's the red-headed line?
So we actually had somebody with red hair that didn't make it into the Kickstarter. So like Mark was talking about earlier, it's really easy when you're working on this for it to get very, very big. And that happened with us. And at one point we had 24 figures that we then pared down to get to a much more manageable number. So there was a redheaded guy in the lineup at one point, and I would assume that figure will still make it eventually. That will just become a series 2 or a series 3 character, because we want to get to all of those eventually. We just have to pace ourselves.
For balance, though, I can see how that would throw it off, given the inherent genetic potential of a redhead.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I assume he was a night ops trooper, because I mean, come on, we're not built for outdoors and all that. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. So you know what? Me and my tribe been dealing with it for a long time, Matt. It's fine, whatever, no problem. Oh, but Andrew's got it sniffed out. Little inside info here. Got a leak in the Callsign Longbow production process. But yeah, I can't wait for that
drug cartel based out of Rhode Island.
Can't wait for that honcho figure. It's gonna be incredible. I just assumed you couldn't sign the guy, right? Just the asking price, just exorbitant.
Too high, yeah.
Actually,
couldn't afford that.
The irony that the only Mark Webber figure ever produced came from the mind and hands of Troy McKee at a JoeCon a long time ago, and he's still around here.
That's right. That's right. It did.
That's exactly right. And in the end, when Daryl and I split that set up, he got to keep the display cabinet. Troy made for a custom contest at the Joe Fest in Loveland, had a display cabinet and me and Daryl in front of it. And it was pretty outstanding. And I was like,
the hardest part was I actually duplicated the pattern on Daryl's shirt.
Right? Yeah, he was wearing his Hawaiian shirt. And wasn't that the Daryl head off like Iron Bear or something?
It was. And I had a buddy of mine resize it because it was a little small on the Iron Bear figure. So he upped it by like 5 or 10% to get it to size. And
I was like, dude, who tears apart an Iron Bear figure for a custom? Because he was a pretty expensive fig, as I recall. So.
He was. But see, he cast that, so I didn't have to tear up that head. That head went right back on the one in my collection.
You know, I've never asked, but whose giant noggin did you use for me?
Oh, there was
a pop figure, wasn't it?
It was a Star Wars
right?
figure.
It was a Funko Pop figure. Yeah.
It was a Star Wars figure, and it was an Imperial officer of some kind. And I remember he had blonde hair, but I remember thinking at the time it kind of looks like Mark.
He's big, handsome son of a bitch.
Yeah. So that one came. I don't remember, and admittedly, I don't know Star Wars well enough to tell you what character it was. I just remember seeing it and thinking that. So
all right, fair enough. Well, he's still in a spot of honor. I just need that big toy cabinet behind me to show that I'm a legit podcaster. We're working on it. We'll try to get there.
But then the kids won't be able to go upstairs.
Right, exactly. They'll be down here and I'll be shushing them the whole time. Maybe I got my G.I. Joe jersey up there. So I'm semi-legit, halfway there. All right, so let's see. Is there anything else? There is not. Fiend, and that means we're done. But to recap, because not everybody joins the show on time, Callsign Longbow kicks ass. And if you didn't know that, you know now. And if you're not sure because you missed the beginning, Troy, where are they going to find out more about Callsign Longbow?
Head on over to cslongbow.com. cslongbow.com. And there are character profiles. We've got the digital comic, and like I said, we've got a link out to the Backer Kit pre-order store, so you can find everything we've got there, and you can find whatever you need. We don't post news very often there, but all the important links are there. So
that's where you need to go to get in if you're not in, and B, rethink your choices in a positive way. You know, you probably getting some money back from the government. You can send it on in there. Time
you
to
can always
build.
add. You can always place an additional order. Whatever you feel like you need to do.
It's time to troop build. What time is it? It's time to troop build.
Troop build, absolutely.
It's always a good time to troop build.
Gotta get some tracksuit guys.
If you're quick, you can get over there, triple your order, and be back before the end of our Kokomo's Toys.
We buy, sell, and trade vintage and modern toys. G.I. Joe, Star Wars, Transformers, Marvel, DC, and more. Located in beautiful downtown Kokomo, Indiana, we are open every Wednesday through Saturday from 12 to 5. It's a theme park of nostalgia. Join the thousands of people who have traveled from all over the Midwest for over a decade to buy and sell with us. Get your geek on.
Just like that. So much power.
Butter.
Oh, you know, there's something I didn't know. It just keeps playing if you don't turn it off. All right, good enough. No, I've learned a lot. Didn't think it was possible to have more respect for Mike, but I do. Not just because of the buttons he has to push and all the things he does to keep the train on time, but the restraint he shows. Because there's a lot here. So, all right. So we got you your calendar. Let me make sure I got my to-do list done. We got the calendar. We told you where Mike and Joe are. We got through the bit of news. We got totally up to speed on Callsign Longbow and learned about that bitch and shield that blew my mind a little bit. Got the Kokomo Toys spot in. I think we've only got a couple things left, boys. So, and mine will be quick, and I'll lead off because I get to choose. Talking about what we got in, what's new to the collection, new on your desk, new in your toy cabinet, and for me, that's nothing. It has been a bit of a dry spell, toy included, for Mr. Weber right now. So, Troy, you're the guest. What's new? What's hot?
I got a test shot for a Robo Skull retro figure.
That's oh, I got one too. Like, who doesn't? Hold on, let me do the triple screen here. So yeah,
a little bad focus there.
He's got short sleeves.
Feels like I've been drinking.
And I've got his helmet and his alternate head. There he is wearing the helmet. Get the focus there.
Everybody feels hungover right now, and that's okay.
And then there's the alternate Skeletron head here. So
that's nice.
Kind of see him. So anyway, this is what I got in, and this is just what I've been staring at for the last week and a half here. But very, very excited. Again, big milestone, and excited to have that. So absolutely,
like it's funny because there's no difference in that feeling between someone running a Kickstarter campaign or someone working at a gigantic toy company. When that first physical bit comes in that you've been working on, it is like super Christmas. Yeah. There's nothing quite like it. So all right, Troy, you win. Especially because I got nothing. But Rack Time Rob, you're usually good for a Batman or two.
Yeah, you know what? Hang on, I left them in the room.
Oh,
yeah, it won't take me long to get them, but I can show you what I got in like just a few minutes ago.
That's fair. Whoa! Come on now. He's gonna critique me. Wait, if he's on a different window, I could ban him finally. But you guys got to be together. Hold on. Look at this. Crashing the program. It's the boss is back from assignment. You there?
Kind of.
I thought it was a standee for a second.
We don't want to do this because it's
Not
going to
this-
turn into one of those echoey things.
Oh, but that was our best show.
Because Rob's computer is right there. So you're going to get it through mine and then through his.
You've never sounded better, Mike.
I've got a lot of bass.
Dude.
A lot of bass.
Ace of base, Mike Irizarry joining us on the program. So I should dump this window? Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
All right, fine. I do what I'm told.
All right.
All right.
All right. Well, we got a little addition to the Marvel Legends shelf here. We have crotchety old Nazi Baron Strucker.
Ah, there you go. In his Hydra underwear.
Yeah.
That's good.
Okay. Most powerful nerd in the universe, the Molecule Man, for you Secret
boy.
Wars fans.
Right? Where's Volcana? Should have been a 2-pack.
Yeah. And then the epitome of 1970s Avengers fun. Safari Jacket Wonder Man.
That's a good look right there. Are the glasses removable on Wonder Man?
Sadly, no.
Oh,
But you can tell that he's got like red eyes underneath. So
okay. I'm liking Safari Jacket Wonder Man.
Oh,
That's
Safari
a good look.
Jacket Wonder Man kicks ass.
We need more West Coast Avengers
Yeah.
to help balance it out, right?
Well, I think they put up. Speaking of that, they put up Hawkeye for pre-order today with
Oh,
his
yeah.
Sky Cycle. So
Yeah, with his air sled. Not exactly aerodynamic, but I'll give it up to you, Hawkeye. I appreciate the. Anytime I see a vehicle, I'm excited, and it barely counts. I think.
yeah.
So, is Mike joining us for what he got in?
Mike, what'd you get in? No, he's not. No,
He's not.
He got nothing.
He got nothing. All righty. So,
I got something, but it's not ready.
all right, fair enough. So, your stuff's cool, Rob, but Troy wins. In the rankings, but I get the bronze medal, so take that for what it's worth.
By default, yay!
Yeah, exactly. Good at silver medal. But that brings us to shout outs, and I'm going to go first again because I want to make sure nobody scoops me on this. Because my sources, which is Facebook, tell me that G.I. Joe legend Ron Rudat is 1 month into quitting smoking. And I don't have any experience quitting smoking, but I've heard it's a real pain in the ass. So for Ron Rudat, who's on Mount Rushmore of modern GI Joe, to be dropping the cigarette habit as far along as he is, salute. We love it. Keep it up. I know it sucks, but you're doing the right thing. So that's my shout out to Ron Rudat. Putting down the cigarette, good for him.
Be sure to give him some Kojak lollipops at Joe Fest.
It's a good call. It's absolutely a good call. Troy, your turn. Shouting out.
Want to shout out to all of our backers and everybody who supported Callsign Longbow. As always, this is only possible because of you. We couldn't do it without you. And we are so appreciative of that. I also want to give a shout out to my partner in crime, John Kukovic, and Ben and Mark from Skeletron, and Doug, and everybody that we're working with on this project. We're just cooking along, and I just can't tell you guys how much I appreciate all the backers and all those folks that are helping out on the project. It's really awesome.
And you too can join that community.
Yeah, you
right
can be
now. just head on over to cslongbow.com. And if you already ordered up your order, if you haven't ordered, what the hell? Get in. It's about time. Ragtime Rob, shouting it out.
Yeah, shout out to Troy for joining us tonight.
Absolutely.
The studio audience for always coming in and listening. Not shouting out to Mike because, if you can see his comments, he's apparently not wearing pants.
Oh, look at this.
Thanks everyone for that mental imagery. And I know we're kind of far out, but this Sunday, we got a twofold here. This Sunday, it's the birthday of one Mike.
Oh boy. Time to go shopping.
And it's also Mother's Day.
Oh,
So shout out to all the moms, grandmas, aunts, whoever.
Yeah.
Kudos to all you mothers out there.
Mother.
See, just like that. Sound like a Mr. T video. I think we're all caught up. I think I hit all the right buttons. I hit some that I shouldn't. I made a debut that probably shouldn't have happened, but whatever. Like I said, if Mark's running the show, it'll be over quick. And boy, was that true. Future mom Joe Colton, of course, got to give her a shout out.
That's right.
Who will not be at Tidewater Con unless Wes is chasing her. Get back in the car.
Yeah, I told you. The doctor said, get back here.
Stop it. So anyway, we appreciate you guys putting up with the substitute teacher. And Mike will be back post-birthday. And next week, he better have something to share with what he got in, given that it's his friggin' birthday on Sunday.
I already got lots of crap.
Oh, see? This is like the Muppet sketch in the operating room with the voice of God just dropping in. I like it. See how many beachheads Mike gets on Sunday. We'll let you know next week. To the fans, we appreciate you joining us every week. Like we always say, you can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us right here on Tuesday nights. We appreciate the community supporting the longest running G.I. Joe fan cast out there. So often imitated, never duplicated. Thanks for joining us. As we always say, if you can't stay safe, be careful.
That's right.
Seems to work. And if I can just find the exit, it's right around here. Good night, everybody. Oh, wait a minute. I'm going to do it left-handed. Beer.